Hello and welcome to Moose and Shanks do New York City. Come along with us for 5 nights in the city that never sleeps, the Big Apple. Of course, all before the excitement in New York City, you've still got to get to the airport first. So we've from our home, we'll head up to Farringdon, take the Elizabeth line over to Heathrow. Just due to the time of our flight the next day and just due to not working, we decided to stay overnight at the Premier Inn at Terminal 4 at Heathrow. Very handy Premier Inn, this one, as it is actually attached to one of the terminal buildings. You don't have to drive in or get a transport afterwards. Stay there overnight and then you can just get the free Elizabeth line between the terminals the following morning. So naturally, of course, if you do like what you see and hear from Moose and Shanks, please click that like button, subscribe, share, come along with some of our journeys. So on the actual travel day itself, we're heading over to London Heathrow Terminal 3. We've got Virgin Atlantic flight 12:40 in the afternoon to JFK. For this particular trip, just decided to save a little bit of money and travel economy. And all in all, a very pleasant flight. Did book the extra row seats just due to a height of 6'2", so I did need a little bit of leg room. The meal wasn't too bad. We did pre-book the chicken tikka masala from the options there, and then we served afternoon tea, sandwiches, and pastry just before landing. So after landing at JFK, it did take us about 45-50 minutes to get through immigration, and then we headed straight out to grab a New York taxi into Manhattan. Just due to our landing time, 4 o'clock US time, we did catch the rush hour into the city. If you do travel on the yellow taxi cab from JFK, it is a flat fare of $70 plus any tolls and a small congestion charge if you are traveling during the rush hour. So as this is my 5th time to New York City, this is Moose's first proper visit. She did go when she was very young, just for a day trip down Statue of Liberty and a bus tour around the city. So it's amazing getting to watch someone's reaction when they see certain landmarks and places in New York City for the first time. And here we see Moose catching the sights and sounds of Times Square for the first time. Good morning and welcome to Times Square, New York City. It is -15 apparently this morning, so we're just heading out, getting morning coffee, and then heading down the metro, heading south, and it's the 9/11 museum to start our holiday. Getting around New York City is actually quite easy. In the summer I tend to do a lot more walking, but with it being extremely cold, about minus 15 degrees at times, chose to use the subway an awful lot. It's very easy to use subway now. It is contactless, so you've got Apple Pay, Google Pay, tap as you go in, and it was a $3 flat fare. After we'd finished down at 9/11 Memorial Museum, we did decide to walk north a little bit in search of a few other sites. And it is fascinating just to see the piles of snow that have just been shoveled off to the one side, and just to keep the city moving. It's fascinating for us because back home, everything would stop at the slightest dusting of snow.
Fans, the Knicks return to the Garden this Sunday. Thank the people you trust. To learn more, visit haveagameplan.org.
the New York Knicks select Patrick Ewing.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, o'er so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? The land of the free and home of the brave.
Honestly.
So our second day starts off with heading for breakfast, and of course it's into a New York City diner. This is Andrew's Diner on 7th Avenue. Fantastic breakfast setting us up for the day. Then we head over to the Metro because we are heading down to South Ferry as we have tickets for the Statue of Liberty and access up to the Crown. So we get the subway down to South Ferry. Now, something to note, if you do have tickets for Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and heading over that way, and you bought the tickets online like we did, you do need to head over to Castle Clinton, a short walk from South Ferry, to pick up your tickets before you head over to the security checkpoint and get the ferry over to Liberty Island or Ellis Island. Our tickets, which did include access to the Crown on the Statue of Liberty, were fantastic value at just $26.30 each. Something to bear in mind, you do need some kind of ID when you collect the tickets. Driving licence or passport will do.
United States. The statue has since become a universal symbol of our nation's freedom, opportunity, security, and future. Join us for this great monument as we approach the
So if you are doing a pedestal or the crown on the Statue of Liberty, be ready to get the steps in, as there are quite a lot of stairs to use. There is a lift available, elevator, for the pedestal, but if you are going all the way up to the crown, it is just a very narrow spiral staircase, both up and down. Once you get to the top, there isn't an awful lot of room, like you do see in certain films, but the views are amazing, and in fact you do get to look back at the Statue of Liberty from Manhattan and say, I was at the top of that. It is the same narrow staircase back down, so just take your time, but it is well worth the effort.
We've been up there.
For the shoppers amongst you, no trip to New York City would be complete without a trip to Macy's down on 34th Street. And as you can see, Moose very excited to be here. One little bit of fascination for me is if you go up to the higher floors, they do still have these amazing wooden escalators for the top couple of floors to take you all the way to the top. So into the evening, and we have booked the Empire State Building for around £200 for that evening, which would take us over sunset. They head down to the entrance way at 4th Street.
legs inside and keep your eyes open. See those hot rivets fly through the air? Nice catch, Lou! Get those planks out of the way, huh? Oh, hey, watch it! We're coming up here! I saw you watch the bricks. Hey, Bucky, you gonna ride that thing all day? Do something useful, will you? All right, we're coming up to the 80th floor. You're headed to the top of the Empire State Building right here in the heart of New York.
So for those who have visited the Empire State Building before, you do still have the viewing area on the 86th floor, which is the very traditional images from the Empire State Building that you will have seen on photos and TV. Once you have hit the 86th floor, there is access now to the 102nd floor, a lot more smaller viewing area. This is all enclosed, but does get you some amazing views from a lot higher up than you have been in the past.
I want to see the first one. The Celtics are the sixth I don't know.
Morning, it's another lovely day here in New York City. It's probably the coldest we've actually had it. We had a big bit of snow earlier, so we're now taking a bit of a stroll around, heading over to the Intrepid. Got the Concorde there, they've got a space shuttle Enterprise. And then this afternoon we are going up top of the Rockefeller, catch the sunset up here. So ladies and gentlemen, just the obligatory, if you have liked what you've seen, please click that subscribe button. Also click the thumbs up, like and share to your friends, family and anyone else who might be interested in any of our videos. So my 5 visits to New York City, every time I do go and take a visit to the Intrepid Museum. So for the initial entry price, you do get access to the Intrepid itself. You've got the hangar and the flight deck, and also up to the bridge. You've got the USS Growler Cold War-ish submarine, and they do have on the flight deck in a separate little hangar the Shuttle Enterprise. This is all available for the basic entry fee.
long-range tracking cameras at Kennedy Space Center picking up the first image of the shuttle at a distance of 16 miles from the landings.
Enterprise Houston, looking good. Rolling on to final.
Got the lights, we're nominating, and be happy.
Move the stick forward to step through the skill levels.
Go.
Fun fact, where I grew up in South East London, Concorde used to fly over my house every single day. You could set your watch by it. It was amazing.
Now, having seen the Shuttle Enterprise, this makes it 2 members of the Space Shuttle program we've seen. On a visit to the Kennedy Space Center last year, we did see the Shuttle Atlantis, all set up in the museum there.
This is a bit different to the bridge on Mardi Gras.
Nuclear missiles. Growler carried 4 Regulus I cruise missiles. The Regulus I missile was essentially a radar-guided jet aircraft that carried
seat controls, and then there's another set of fins at the back of the submarine, and that's controlled by the sailor in the back seat there. So by moving those fins up and down, it allows the submarine to surface and dive. Of course.
We were staying at the Tempo by Hilton, just on Times Square, and opposite our hotel was Central Perk, a friends-themed coffee shop. Now the coffee was nice, but the service was extremely slow, even when they weren't that busy, and it just seemed to be trading on the name.
Whoa. Wow.
The Metropolitan Opera and businessman John D. Rockefeller Jr. have announced plans to build a magnificent new opera house right here in the heart of Manhattan.
Dateline, October 29th, 1929.
Now, if you're only visiting New York City for a short space of time, or it is just your first time, probably would say Empire State Building and the observation decks there are the best place to go. But if you do get a chance, head over to Rockefeller and do the top of the rock. Now, whilst it's not as high, in my opinion, you do get better views from the Rockefeller Center. As you can see, when you look uptown, you do get views across Central Park. And as I say, what's the one thing you cannot see from the Empire State Building? The Empire State Building. We did also have booked to do the Skylift, which is a new raising platform out there at top of the rock. Fortunately, just due to the weather, it was extremely windy on the day, that was cancelled. But you do just go to the reception on the way into the building, and they will sort you out a refund on your ticket for anything you cannot achieve that day. So as we hit that day 4, which is our final full day in New York City, we decided not to have any set plans in stone and just took a slow walk around the city. As the weather had slightly warmed up, but somewhat. So as you cut across from Madison Avenue through towards 5th, come across the Louis Vuitton luggage building, very strange, and then we carried on up 5th Avenue and past Central Park. There's an ambulance coming up as well. As you head down 8th Avenue, you reach Madison Square Garden. If you look across on there, you've got the Moynihan Train Hall. This used to belong to the United States Postal Service, but now provides access for Amtrak and other railway services from tracks beneath the train hall. In the past, I have taken the train from New York City down to Washington with Amtrak on their sailor service. This took about 3.5 hours and does provide an alternative option if you do need to get between cities on the eastern seaboard of the US. So as we hit our final day, and unfortunately it was time to travel home. So after a filling breakfast at Andrew's Diner again on 7th Avenue, we decided to take the air train back to JFK just to try something different, also save a little bit of money after we've spent a lot in the city. So we took a stroll over to Grand Central, Long Island Railroad to Jamaica, and then took the air train back to JFK for our flight with Virgin Atlantic back to London Heathrow.
Please stand clear.
Our flight back home to London Heathrow, Virgin Atlantic, was pretty much empty, and as you can see, they did have an entire section of the plane not in use. Now, much like the flight out to the US, we did book the exit row seats just to give ourselves plenty of leg room down in economy. And as our final dinner was served on board, it was back to the UK and home. So if you have liked travelling with us to New York City and like what you've seen, please click like, subscribe and share, and join us again soon.